In this video, I'm going to try and provide you with a few examples of what you can do if a floor joist is in your way for the tub or shower drain and would need to be cut or moved. And first thing we're going to do is remove the bathtub. There's the joist that's in the way. It needs to be cut or moved. And again, remember, this is why we plan. If you plan your floor layout correctly, you won't run into this problem. Remember that. Here's what it will look like from underneath. And of course, you can see the joist here that is in the way. Now, the thing that you need to keep in mind if a joist is cut, and this is obviously the footing, the foundation of the raised foundation. This is the concrete, and here's a supporting beam, and then of course the floor joist can sit on top of the sill plate and the concrete footings. Now, as long as the floor joists sit on two bearing spots, one at each end, you're fine. If they are cut any spot along the way, then you have severely weakened the floor. And even notches and holes that are drilled through these in certain spots can severely weaken the floor joist. But in this video, we're going to talk about how to repair a floor joist that has been damaged. Now, just remember, this part of the video is just to keep in mind, it needs to be sitting on two bearing spots. Most of the repairs, the weight is going to transfer to the end. It's not going to be transferring to some spot in the center unless you pour another footing in there to support it. So just keep that in mind. Here's the first fix, and this is usually going to be the simplest. That would be to just simply attach another floor joist, the total length of the one that was damaged. And you can see here, and we're going to zoom in where it was actually cut. But you just simply attach another floor joist to it and nail it about every 16 inches on center. Stagger your nails. And that might be a little overkill for something like this. But again, these are just examples. I am not about to suggest that any of these examples will work or be approved by a structural engineer. These are repairs that I have done in the past. Previous repairs, examples of previous repairs provided by a structural engineer. So just keep that in mind that, you could be watching this video in the year 2040 and it's not going to apply. They might have different methods. Let's go ahead and take a little closer look here. You can see here the new joist is sitting on top of the wall. And here would be the hole, so you'd have a pipe coming up here. The old joist would have been cut here. This would be a simple repair. Here's another way you can repair the cut joist, and that would be to install two new single joists on each side and make sure that they're not overspanned. So if these joists are 16 inches on center, then these joists that you put in here will need to be, they cannot be more than 16 inches on center also. Take a look here, see if I can give you a better idea what I'm talking about. These joists will be sitting on top of the beam or footing, whatever's going to be transferring the load for the joist. Remember, as I stated earlier, these joists need to be sitting on bearing points, not just hanging out there in thin air. The distance between, let's just say that, for example, this is 16 inches on center. That means from this side of the joist to this side of the joist, it's 16 inches, leaving us a 14.5 inch bay in here with nominal lumber that's an inch and a half. This would also need to be the same distance. You couldn't put two joists in here and have, for example, 16 inches on center is going to give us a 14.5 inch span between the boards. You can't go larger than that. Otherwise, you are going to be, you could create a bigger problem for the floor. Because you're going to be overspanning the distance. So in other words, you're not just going to put two boards in here and have them 20 inches apart. That's not really going to do much good. So try and keep them within whatever the span is of the rest of the floor. Span, I mean the on center, I'm sorry. It wouldn't be a bad idea to put a block here and a block here just to stabilize these, even though you're not going to be using this to transfer weight. If you want to use hangers, put hangers in here, that's fine. But these new joists are actually going to be supporting the load. This one and this one won't be doing much, but you should put a block in here anyway. Something just to stabilize, help to stabilize these. This might not need a block depending upon the length. I would say if this is longer than 12 inches, then put a block in it. Something less than that, don't worry about it. But something like this, or if it's going to be under a bathtub, big deal, because you're going to be using these as your main supports now. The block here will just help to make this a little more solid. If for whatever reason you don't block this, over time the joist might start to sag or lower, let's say, and it could end up squeaking. As you walk on it. So just something I'm throwing out there. So if you can't block it, you're not going to be able to, then just run a 2x4 or 2x6 underneath here and nail it into the bottom of the joist. Just anything to keep that thing up instead of just hanging in thin air. There you go. There's the hole where the pipe would go. That is the end of this repair. Go to the website for more videos on walls and engineering. I will also have a complete list of the videos in this series along with other videos that I have already made. Video.gregvan.com structural engineering, or go to the gregvan.com website, any one of them, and look for the video box in the upper left hand corner. Once you get to the video website, click on the structural engineering link and you should be good to go. You should be where you need to be.